It's Sid at Cool Movie Cran. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most popular, well-loved and much sought after genres of film over the last good few decades now. This is possibly going back through to the 50s and 60s up until current day. The most popular genre of filmmaking, which is action. Action movies. Now, of course, we all love them. I mean, some of the greatest movies of all time are action movies. I mean, in my terms, especially when it comes to the physical aspect of it. Whether you're watching something starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, whether it's Clint Eastwood or a James Bond movie, or even if it's like a classic Western with with John Wayne. Even up until now, you've got movies such as The Raid. You've got movies starring Scott Adkins. You've got all these very talented people making great movies. Even Jackie Chan and Donnie Yen, so to speak, at this moment in time. And of course, one of the most popular movies of the last recent years, whether it's Marvel or not. You've also got Keanu Reeves in John Wick. I mean, we all love action movies. Now, what's the one thing that, apart from action sequences, apart from really good action sequences, what makes an action movie into an instant action classic, an action movie that's loved by everyone the world over, very popular and very kind of like accessible and memorable? What's the one aspect, apart from big explosions, great fight choreography, great action set pieces? What's the one thing that makes these action movies stand out from the rest? Think of your favorite action movie of all time. What makes the action movie stand out? Your favorite action movie. Now, let me tell you, it is great character development. A very compelling protagonist. Now, if you look at the greatest action movies of all time now, some people might say the Terminator movies, like the first two especially. You got Alien and Aliens. They have to have compelling protagonists. Or even like, for example, Lethal Weapon is a great example where you've got two of the protagonists, Riggs and Murtaugh. Riggs is going through post-traumatic stress disorder, and that's conveyed through some of the scenes where you see him attempting to commit suicide. And also you've got Sergeant Murtaugh, who's this very kind of like loving husband and father, and also someone who's dealing with like a post-midlife crisis, being the fact that his daughter's come of age, she's dating boys, and also at the same time he's dealing with the fact that he's kind of like getting old, and now he's stuck with a partner who's a ticking time bomb at work. So that instantly makes us kind of like root for the character. And even when it comes to movies like Die Hard, John McClane himself, you know that he's just one man and he's able to take on all these armed terrorists in a building. And he can get hurt. So it kind of makes us more empathetic and being able to root for the protagonist. And it's the same thing even with some Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, such as some of his best work, which is Commando. I mean, he's not the greatest actor of all time, but he has made some great action movies now, because the reason why Commando worked, even though he got shot in the arm, he's able to walk out of car accidents just without even a scratch, barely scratched, no injuries, because he's got a vulnerability, which is his daughter. And of course, you know that, this guy's got he's got a soft side. He's got a side that makes him vulnerable. And that's what makes us, as the audience, want to root for him. Even when it comes to Sylvester Stallone, his character in the Rambo movie, especially the first one, First Blood, he was very vulnerable. The fact that he can get hurt, even though he's this ultimate special ops kind of badass who served in Vietnam. But the fact is, he's still kind of like dealing with his own inner demons, and he's getting injured, and he's he's kind of getting cornered in by the local sheriffs and Teasel, and also the well, the National Guard and such as well. So he can still get hurt in these circumstances, which is what makes us as the audience want to root for these characters. I mean, that's why I think The Raid, which I would say is probably one of the greatest action movies, even though the plot was very simple, there wasn't really much of a story to it. It just kind of took place in one place, but one location. But the character of of Rama, played by Iko Uwais, he was very kind of like someone you could root for because he's kind of like he's a married man. His wife's Jew, and he's very kind of like you want him to kind of make it out alive when he's put in danger. But now that's what's kind of like missing from a lot of action movies as we kind of got on, because there has been more focus on just the action sequences, just the fight choreography, just the special effects, the visual aspect of it. But there's less and less detailed attention to the actual character development aspect of an action movie. I mean, why do you think Terminator 1 and 2 kind of like worked really well is because of having characters like Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese in the first one. In the second one, you had Sarah Connor and John Connor. You kind of got to kind of feel sorry for these characters, and you kind of already invest in these characters from their journey that they go through and how they grow as characters. Even those but the role of Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of changed. In the first one, he was this killing machine, and in the second one, he's protecting instead. And they're trying to kind of like go up against an opponent who's kind of like much more sophisticated and a much more deadlier and an upgraded version of what Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator character is. I mean, the T-1000's was like a very destructive and very hard, not to mess with kind of person, or an entity, or whatever you want to call him. But yeah, that's what's missing now. I would think that a lot of action movies came out right now. The one thing that they would need to do is focus more on character development, focus more on making the character that they're actually basing the movie around, making more engaging for the audience. That's what makes a great action movie. You would need to work on that. I mean, the visual aspect of it, of course, does play a big part of it. Whether it's going to be like a science fiction futuristic action movie, whether it's a like modern day urban kind of crime action movie, or if it's a martial arts action type of movie, whichever type of action movie it is, there would need to be a compelling enough protagonist for us to root for in order for an action movie from becoming just another action movie to a memorable action movie. You got to have depth to the character. Now that's one of the reasons why John Woo's action movies have actually worked, because John Woo has also said, especially his Hong Kong movies, that he takes actors that are not necessarily action movie stars and he makes them look like action movie stars. He's able to make them look good on screen, that they're able to kind of like do some sort of damage, whether it's shooting guns and evading explosions and whatnot. But he creates these characters that the audience kind of like empathizes, and it draws you in. You're able to kind of like pick up things from their performance. I mean, that's why a lot of people need to do. I mean, whether you got great ability of martial arts or whatnot. I mean, I still think in order to make a good action movie, you would still need to, I would say, maybe invest in taking acting classes. And also, I mean, they would need to get more, just better screenwriters who are able to flesh out a character, flesh out the characters around the actual protagonist as well, just to create someone who we can actually root for, and also just we want to see them come out right in the end. I think they need to go back to the basics of just creating a compelling enough character. Well, yeah, that was me. That was my 2 cents. Well, more than 2 cents there. But let me know what you think in the comment section. What do you think makes for a great action movie? I mean, what is the most important element of an action movie? And also, please don't forget to like, follow, and also follow me on Instagram as well, which is @CoolMoviegram. Okay then, that's me. I'm signing out. Take care and see you on the next video.